Good morning, everybody. It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations 2020, Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads and fathers, sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. And in 2022, 2021, and I'm pretty sure 2023, we're just tabulating the final numbers, reached out directly and indirectly to over 100,000 fathers around the world. I also now am a content provider for the Fly Nubian Queen network, YouTube network that's run by Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. And that network has over 550,000 subscribers. It is specifically content for Black women, but I'm providing content for it. So, you know. And upcoming in the next few weeks, be a content provider and also a member of the advisory board of Indie Soup Media, which is a new content provider network. It's based in the US, run by our dear friend, Dr. Tachi. And the reach of that network is over 1 million people. So as always, I like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, solution for someone's problem. Ryan Knight is in the house.
Yeah, good to see you, Dr. Vibe. And for those that do not know who Ryan Knight is, I'm one of the co-founders of the Afro Caribbean Business Network. We support entrepreneurs of African and Caribbean heritage, really to figure out what stage their business is in and help them create a strategy to grow their companies exponentially. I am an entrepreneur myself. I do run a company called Detailing Nights. So we provide mobile waterless car cleaning. So we go to people's houses, their offices, clean their cars on the spot without using water, and our plant-based eco-friendly cleaning supplies, which we always want to give a shout out to Liquid Green Products, where we get our plant-based cleaning. They do all-purpose cleaners and carpet cleaners. They're awesome. But this past week, we have been hibernating as the cold snap hit Southern Ontario. I think we got delayed because Buffalo definitely got hit harder than us, but it eventually got to us. But glad to be here. Always good to see you. Actually, I'm just getting back from Ottawa.
We'll talk about that in just a moment. There's a lot of things you've been going on with. So let's do our Monday morning ritual. Our Monday morning ritual. This episode of The Morning Vibe is sponsored by the Macmillan Group, providing mortgage solutions one client at a time since 1999. Buying, refinancing, or investing. Call them at in Canada, 905-813-4354, US 904-586-5636. So they are our continuous Monday sponsor, and also got to give them much respect. Put this thing up here again. There's the Canada number, US number, toll-free number in North America, and then website, the Macmillan Group Inc.com. And also you can email Ray C. McMillan at gmail.com. And Ray is back in Canada. I don't know why, but he's back in Canada. He's back in from Guyana back to Canada. I don't know why, but I spoke with Ray recently, and really good to have him back in town. I have to check him out physically while he's here because you never know where he's going to be traveling next. Okay, you've been to Ottawa. Go for it.
Yes, and before I tell everyone about my trip to Ottawa, remember, BuyBlacks.com has their People's Choice Awards going on right now. So do visit their website. ACBN has been nominated in the nonprofit category. So we've been truly blessed and humbled at the comments that have been put into the voting section. And I just want to say thank you to everybody that's already voted, that is dedicated and voting every day, and also those that put comments. So we'll be voting right up until January 31st. So thank you. I just wanted to plug that in. And I'm going to remind you at the end of the show. Yes.
Plug.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was in Ottawa and pretty much working with an organization there called New Life Project. So Brenda Williams, she runs New Life Project. It's an actual physical space. They have classes where they teach immigrant women how to sew and start businesses selling their products. They have a mini store online, and they also do workshops about just, starting your own business or life in Ottawa and how to navigate the different resources. So we partner with them because, as you know, I talk a lot about capital, loans, grants, different resources for business. So we're working with her so that ACBN has somewhat of a satellite presence in Ottawa, using their location to do presentations, and she'll be representing us for entrepreneurs that need support. So we were there talking about, yes, the different grants that are out there right now for businesses, like the Shop Here program, where they'll build your website. That's through Digital Main Street. They have the grant program for digital marketing, so if you need help with online marketing. And also, of course, the Foundation for Black Communities, where if you're not following me on Instagram or on LinkedIn, you have not been seeing the fury of posts that I've been putting out, just talking about this new grant that the Foundation for Black Communities has put out. And it is due February 1st. We have another session happening tonight talking about the core stream, where you can get up to $40,000. And on Friday, talking about their catapult stream, where you can get up to $100,000 for your existing community projects. So if you have a community project, even if it's just an idea, or if you've already been doing the work, make sure. And my message to them yesterday Saturday, was put in your idea. Don't talk yourself out of your idea. Let them tell you no and then explain why, and you can go back and refine it. But don't talk yourself out of this money just because you might not feel either your idea is not good enough or whatever it is that we use to talk ourselves out of these opportunities. I'm here to say we are here to support you. If it's just writing the application and you're stuck there, we're here to help you get to the finish line. So definitely get your ideas in.
Okay, so let's do. Well, got a lot of things going on here this morning, so let's talk it up. Always, please subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. Also, follow the Dr. Vibe Show on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. If you want to advertise your business, product, or service, like the McMillan Group does, every Monday on any of the platforms, please do that, and please join our Discord group. And email me at dr.vibe@thedrvibeshow.com. Ryan, I have to ask you again. You got to send me that link. I deleted it by accident.
Okay. Yes.
So if you can even put in the chat, I'd love you to do that so I can share that with our Discord group. So there is value being a member of the Discord group. Yes. And well, it's interesting. And people that big, and whenever people hear money, they start running after it. You have to be a not-for-profit. Remember that.
That's what people think. But you can actually be an unincorporated community group. So it's catered to incorporated nonprofits, but if you have a community project and you're willing to partner with another nonprofit, you can still apply. And so that's where we've been coaching people that have community projects. Even if they've had a business or don't have a nonprofit, they can still apply as a collaborative and work with incorporated nonprofit like ACBN and get their applications in.
Well, we don't have the time to discuss that now. I have a concern about that, but it's a whole other conversation. But we'll leave it at that. So were you up in Ottawa just on Saturday?
Yeah, came in the morning and then left in the evening. And
how was the drive?
The drive was actually smooth. The weather was good, so the roads were good. And in the morning, got to stop for lunch with a gentleman that we've been working with, Tarig. He runs, Arctic Accelerate, which is they do.
Yes, I know him. I know. I haven't. You know what? I got to reach out to him. How? So you met him?
I got to meet him for the first time. We've been working together just virtually for a couple years now, and got to meet him, have great lunch at Joey's in Ottawa. Excellent salmon, excellent steak. So I definitely recommend it. But getting to meet people in person is great.
I got to reach out to him and see what's going on in his world. Then, because I've interviewed him a few years ago. Okay. So he's doing okay.
Yeah, he seems he's I think bachelor life. So definitely enjoying Ottawa. Says he might be thinking of Toronto, but hey, we'll see where he ends up. But he's got a lot of great projects on the go.
All right. I'm gonna make it short in regards to media. I watched a very, very interesting video over the weekend, and some people may or may not know the name Roland Martin.
Yes. Okay.
Formerly of CNN and all these things. And so I don't know if anyone does. Put in the comments, anyone, if you know about a network called Tubi.
Okay, I remember Cat Williams used it in his diss of Cedric the Entertainer.
Yeah. Okay. So before we go any further,
Yeah,
we'll get our friend on just a moment. Fitness IQ Cam says, "Morning, gentlemen." Says, "Congrats to both of you. Good morning, Opal Inspired. Good morning, Frequency Event Promotions. Tuning in now. It has an event coming up this Wednesday."
Yes.
And she says, "I'll be there." So Fitness IQ, I think, for the grant thing. Yes. Oh, people. So Frequency Event Promotions and also Opal Inspired. Okay. So for people, if you're watching this live, who owns Tubi? Does anyone know?
Oh boy.
Okay. I'm going to give another 5 seconds to see if anyone knows, because this is where the Roland Martin thing, it's about hour and 15 minutes. It gives there we go. There she goes. You're right. Fox owns Tubi.
Interesting. And Tubi is like really, really new, right?
Well, but okay. So long story short, a lot of black eyeballs are going on to Tubi. And Roland Martin has created his own independent network. He goes really deeper into this, but I'll just go high level. And he's saying a lot of black Americans can't stand Fox, but they're running over to Tubi to watch all their content, which gives Fox money to do their stuff. He went into even so deep that many years ago, the show In Living Color.
Okay.
Some people may remember that show. And there was a Super Bowl, and In Living Color had their own halftime show.
Gotcha.
And basically what happened is the Super Bowl didn't have their really extravagant halftime show at the time, but because the ratings were so big on this In Living Color special for the Super Bowl, Fox got money to start broadcasting on the NFL, basically, and then canceled In Living Color. Basically, to this day, haven't given the great residuals that show has provided. But black Americans can't stand Fox, but when they're watching and saying, "Oh, Tubi's lit," you're giving money to Fox. Wow. And also Fox is giving money for voter suppression groups in the United States.
Ooh.
It goes a lot deeper. He even goes out here. He goes even further about the lack of support of black advertising. It's a great masterclass in media, and in black media, we're not even there to that level yet. But a lot of the things that he mentioned are so prevalent here that the only time that a lot of it's a great masterclass. So I'm gonna probably put the link for it in the Discord group. But it was really good education on why black media is not, if it's not growing in the United States, it's not even opening its eyes here, but it was a great understanding. And he breaks down the economics game of black media in the United States. It was very, 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 I'm not always a big fan of Roland Martin, I have to honestly admit, but way he broke it down, the economics, the backroom stuff, it was really, and actually too, one of the biggest media houses in the U.S. is called Group M. Their chairman, who is a black man, actually submitted his resignation this year, a few months ago. So it's a really great business presentation, and it's really, really something, So again, we are contributing. We're the driving force when it comes to media and advertising, but advertisers don't provide any real good capital at this present time, according to Roland Martin, to black media houses.
Yeah, and it's interesting where the black audience and the attention doesn't fully go to like a Roland Martin show or the different black media houses, yet will run to something like Tubi that has You know,
and he really said there's a real lack of support of Black informational television,
right,
the entertainment stuff and all that.
Entertainment, they'll run to it, right?
Yeah, and it just really, really interesting breakdown. So I spent some time with this and watching and going, it's 100%. I said, this is so true, and that it's, you know, and we won't even get into the DEI stuff. That's a whole other conversation. So, good morning, Dr. Tachi. We just mentioned you a few moments ago, head of Indie Soup Media, and also the host of Mediascope. And I spoke with her a lot over the weekend too. And Mediascope is coming back in February, livest program about media, tech, and pop culture. That is on, when it comes back, on 5 p.m. Instagram Eastern time on Wednesdays, and 6 p.m. YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitch, and other platforms. And the funny thing is, I'm going to put a chance out to some Black media houses out there. I've collaborated with Dr. Tachi with her network. Never met her before. Why can't we do that here? I'm not saying, I'm just saying. We got a message here from Trevor Smith. We have the same situation in New York. Apart from the New York Caribbean News and Street Hype, the Caribbean newspapers are owned by non-Caribbean owners and is getting most of the ads. Money from the mayor. Wow. Same with Black-owned radio programs like WWSOS Oborn. And that was another point that Roland Martin brought up. There's a difference between Black focused media and Black owned media.
Right.
Wow. So Black focused and targeted media is your BET, but it's not owned by Black people.
Right.
And Roland Martin even went in deep, because what was he talking about? What's the guy's name who owns the Weather Channel?
Byron Allen?
Yes, when Byron Allen bought the Black News Network, he said Byron presented him an offer to to do a show. He said it was an embarrassment what he offered him. And Roland said, hey, he doesn't mind because he has no skin in the game with them. He said it was an embarrassment how much he offered to have him come on that network. It was an embarrassment. So we could spend all day on this. Thank you, Trevor, for providing that information. We have, and our friend is shaking her head in the background about it. I've been blessed to know this lady for a long time, but we didn't see each other for a number of years. And then a few years ago, we were in a mall around the corner from me. I go, hey. And she is going strong. And I would call her a juggernaut, especially when it comes to the makeup industry, but also a juggernaut as a business person. Excellent. And an advocate for Black health too. So we're just before we bring it on, we have Black owned media outlets and Black content creators who are on Black focused networks. Well, get in touch with me, IPV ADT. Let's talk. I'm more than willing to have my content syndicated. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. Let's bring up Faces by Pureness. Good morning, Faces by Pureness.
Top of the morning. Everybody, and much love.
How we doing?
I am amazing. It's a day, so I'm here to be in it and own it and gravitate toward it.
Oh, there we go. What was your weekend like?
It was busy. It was work. Oh my gosh. And then I kept getting bookings as I was on the road. I was getting a booking after a booking. I was like, when does it end? But I'm not going to complain because, listen, especially during seasons like this and the freezing cold, people normally don't book. So thank you, everybody, for the support.
Fantastic. Well, before we get into some of it, can you just share a little bit about yourself with our family?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I've been doing makeup since and
okay.
It in such a long time, but such a beautiful journey. I have learned, I've gone through hills and gullies, but it's been beautiful. And I get to meet people like yourself and of course, Ryan as well. And, you know, it's been interesting, but within that, I've also learned things and I've been able to pivot and do other things as well as being a makeup artist, hairstylist. So here we are here, and I'm sure we'll speak on more on it later.
Okay. How did it all start?
Love that.
Oh gosh. there's so many ways to look at the story, but I guess one of the parts of the story was I had this hairstylist. And I feel this was a little bit of fuel for me, at least. And I think we always need that little push. And she was a very popular stylist. Like everyone I knew went to her. And I would, sometimes I'd have my makeup on and things like that. And she was like, "You're really good. You're really good." She's like, "I can see like the way you blend like on your face." Like she was like, "You don't see that around here." And I was like, "Really?" She's like, "Yeah, that's those American people might do that, but we don't have that here." She's like, you're next level. And I was like, "Are you serious?" And when I say I started building my kit that day, I was like, if she says so like I'd be crazy not to like take this seriously. And I started my business maybe about 4 years after that. I started up and I've been going ever since.
Let me ask, what was the first big win in the journey, or a big win early in the journey?
Yeah. For me, it was just getting a booking, just somebody taking me seriously and willing to pay for my service. That was when I was like, "Oh, wait, seriously?" And I remember thinking, "Oh, I'm scared to tell them a number. What if they reject me? What if they don't think I have value in that?" And they were just like, "Okay, so how much?" And I was like, "Yeah, I don't remember the pricing at the time, but I was like, yeah, it would be about this." And I remember kind of almost lowballing myself. And I said, "No, I went in there with a number mentally. I'm going to keep that number." And they accepted it.
Do you remember who that first client was?
Yeah, it was like a theater downtown. So it was like a production team, if you will. I don't
Okay,
remember the name.
Okay, hold on. How did they find out about you? Or how did you connect with them? Because this is early in the game.
That's what's so funny. Right. It's so funny. I don't remember. I literally was like, did they find me online? Did we come? I don't remember, but we connected somehow by some beautiful grace. And that was that.
Wow. Ryan,
and so
go ahead.
What were you doing before you decided to jump into entrepreneurship?
I was working technically for the government. I was working downtown at Hansard. I don't know if you guys know, but that's kind of like where they create all the documentation for what's going on in-house in Ottawa, at the big dog with the big dogs. And I remember Dalton McGinty was in it, and that was where I was working admin there. And my duties were to basically answer the phones, do any computer work. And I was also supposed to go to Dalton's office to get any word or anything like that was going on while House was in proceedings. So that was what I was doing. And eventually, slowly, as I said, built my kit, started saving, started taking it seriously. And then I became Faces by Pureness.
Do you remember the day you went full-time entrepreneur?
Yes. And I remember the day also just like actually registering the business. So that was like, I remember just typing on the computer, like, am I doing this right now?
Am I doing this?
Yeah, it feels surreal.
It was so surreal.
Yes.
Wow. Oh, and yeah. So who were the people back then who were real supporters? Because when you start a business, and even when you have a business, there are going to be people.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Who were the people that were supporting you back then? Wow. Wow.
Right.
Yeah. I blame that on as well. I take accountability. I didn't necessarily tell a lot of people either, but I can't say there were any true supporters. And then even the career I was leaving, they were like, "Don't go. What are you doing now? Yes. This is the worst." And we were all crying and everything. And I started second guessing myself. I'm like, I'm leaving the government to go start a business. I must be crazy. Like, and then of course there's family who believe in, sometimes we talk about parents, and I will do a story time on this at some point, but they were like, huh?
Yeah.
What?
Well, I know my mom still wants me to get a government job. So that conversation with your parents, shifting from government to now I guess not secure. What was that like?
It was crazy. And even to this point, like you said, like parents, like they're still like, okay. I know I started getting the okay from like my mother's side when she went to Detroit with me and she got to witness a fashion show I did. And everybody was there, and people were just coming in my chair back to back, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, I love it! Oh my gosh, this is amazing!" The CEO comes down and she's like, "You're doing such a great job. Everybody's looking flawless. This is amazing." And my mom was like, "Oh my gosh,
what's
this is for real?" She was like, "Elizabeth, come on!" And I was like, "Oh yeah. This is just what I do. Thank you." But my father had never seen it, so it was like he still has not clicked in. He's like, "So are you okay?
Yes.
With the little thing you do,
the little thing,
the little thing."
Oh.
It is what it is. I just love it and support them regardless.
Yes.
Okay. Well, there's a supporter that you have, Doyen Akinlaid, says she's awesome and great at what she does.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
There you go. So people, you have to realize this lady has been all over North America.
Wow.
So doing her passion. What was the first gig you had that was you went, wow, this is wow? What was the first big gig?
That is such a good question. And people always say to me that I'm a little too humble, because when it's time to write out like what I've done or to start throwing names, I always forget. The Marley family. Yes. So I'd done Rita, Marley, and like basically all the women. I'd done their makeup, and it was just like, oh wow, this is pretty cool. This is means I've made it, right? And for me, it's like, the Caribbean community is home. So once I've been accepted and I'm getting the thumbs up there, it's like, okay, I'm good now. We're on this. So that was for me a big one. And I know for some people they have their different other levels of, celebrityship, if you will. But for me, that was a big one.
Do you find any difference between like doing your own makeup and then doing somebody else's, like where you're more, because I envision it as like you're painting and you're an artist. Do you see any difference between the two?
Yes. And it's funny. Now, mind you, this is not the norm. It might be the unpopular answer, but as a makeup artist and doing it so much now, I have more difficulty doing my own makeup. So in the beginning, I mean, sure, I was doing myself more to advertise and kind of push myself. Now people rarely see me in makeup. One, because it's just too much effort. I'm on the road. I have things to do. I'm up at 4 a.m. trying to get to, wherever it may be. And I just don't, but I do find difficulty because, again, when you think about positioning and like, as people would say, POVs, your point of view would be, I have to hold brush like this, and I'm used to holding a brush like this. I'm used to painting. This is Picasso. We got this going on. But, it's a little different now. And as I age into it, and there are certain things I've realized I like to be lighter on the hand and things like that. So I like to look cute or do something fun, but honestly, it's like an effort. So I do feel a difference even more so now, trying to achieve my own looks versus just doing it on someone else. And when people do ask, even sponsorships, they're like, oh, we have this makeup, what shade are you or whatever? And I'm like, just give me any shade and I'll pick a model to go with that, because I'll do a model instead of myself. I would be more, intricate. Right. So it is what it is.
Oh, I think you're on mute.
Yeah, I hear it.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in what Knight said. I've got a myriad of questions about makeup. One of the questions I want to ask you after the break is, it's tiring work. How do you keep it up? Like, people don't realize it's tiring, because you just talked about your hands.
Yes.
So, and I've got an interesting question based on that, but we'll be back in about 90 seconds break. We are here with Faces by Pureness, talking the world of facials and all this sort of thing. Also going to ask, does she see more men getting makeup done? So We'll be back. Keep it locked. 90 seconds. Here we go.
You know, and that's what I feel like. You feel like you're the Harriet Tubman of the mind.
I am.
I feel like I'm I'm one of the Harriet Tubmans of intelligent Black people. Like, I want to liberate y'all from like being left behind and ignored and oblivion. No, really, the rappers get all the attention. You know, seriously, does anybody else feel this way? Like ignorant Black people, they'll be all up, you know, getting all the headlines on the Shade Room.
Overly sexualized Black folks.
Like the twerkers and the, you know, just people that, you know, don't always represent the best of us, you know, the diversity, you know, like people like Dr. Vibe. Like, everybody should know about people like Dr. Vibe. Dr.
Really
Vibe he's trying to do good work for Black people. Dr. Vibe from Toronto. Good to see you, my brother. Dr. Vibe. Everybody follow Dr. Vibe. He has a great show. He's very good at what he does, and I have a lot of respect for him. Okay, so let me hop into this. What's up, Dr. Vibe? How you doing? Everybody, if you see Dr. Vibe in the chat, everybody go follow the Dr. Vibe show. Dr. Vibe is a real smart brother and a good human being. I like the guy a lot, and he's very intelligent. And I think everyone should pay attention to what he's got going on. We got to shine the spotlight on the intelligent Black people out here that are really doing the good work. Don't just pay attention to the rappers and the celebrities. You know, a lot of these people are losers. Your true winners are your people in your community that are really having your back. You know, helping us to have stronger families and a stronger community. So Dr. Vibe is in that category. So you might see the Dr. Vibe show in this chat. If you see him, please go follow him. Okay. All right. So anyway.
All right. As always, shouting out Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. We are here with Faces by Pureness, talking about makeup. We'll probably get to some other things during the conversation. If you want to get in contact with her outside of Ryan's LinkedIn profile, I've shared her contact information. It's on the screen, but it's also in the comment section wherever you're watching this. So Faces by Pureness, myriad of questions always when I'm having great conversation with you. Let me ask, your hands, that's a lot of work.
It is. It is. Here's the thing. A lot of people don't realize it goes so much further than your hands. There's also your neck, your spine, your back, your hips, your feet.
Yeah.
I am lifting, I am grabbing. Sometimes I'm running with equipment. I have my ring light on my shoulder. I have a 200-pound kit.
How much?
Yeah, it's about 100.
What?
And sometimes extra accessories that I have to keep on me. Of course, you know, sometimes I'm running from a vehicle downtown to go, and there's no loading dock. You know, there are things like that I do go through. The beach shoots, I have to run through the sand with pulling a kit through the sand. Who's trying to do all of that?
Yeah. That's wild.
Right. So there's a lot to this career that people don't understand. And then, of course,
are you hiring as an assistant?
Listen,
no, but
very soon.
But yeah, but I've got to ask, you're doing this all, no team?
No, I do it solo dolo. Solo dolo.
Well, wow. Curious, have you ever thought of teaching the craft and like maybe opening a small school?
I actually have, and I do classes. I will find that more so right now because of different schoolings and you know, the teachings of YouTube University, right? Mm-hmm. There are less students, but what I do get are a lot of clients who are like, I just need help, you know, on my everyday. When I'm going to work, I can't afford to hire you every single day. So what could I implement on those moments? Funny enough, the uptake of that started happening during the pandemic when people had to go on Zooms and things like that. And they started feeling self-conscious because one of the things is we start reflecting on ourselves when we see ourselves like that. And we were seeing ourselves on camera. So it was like, oh, that's how I look in the morning. Oh my gosh, the bags, what do I do? So that was where a lot of that happened. And a lot of people started saying, you know what, I just need the basics for myself. And some people are still working virtually right now. So, and they may continue to do so throughout the, you know, the duration of their careers. So yeah, that was a thing. That was a thing. But again, with this career, it's just, there's so many parts. I mean, there's the parts that I really don't enjoy, which is the paperwork.
The back end.
Yeah. And there's a sanitation there, you know, every day when people are like,
oh my gosh.
Right. I have to sanitize.
I'm still trying to push through you saying a few minutes, you're doing this all by yourself.
Yes.
So I'm challenging you in love. When are you going to get some help? What's
You know,
what's holding you
I
back?
thought that would be a thing. I thought that would be a thing within partnership, but life changes sometimes, and it is what it is. So I've accepted it, and I've gone through love and healing, and accepted that, and realized that this is just a journey for me, and I've accepted that. And even in that, you know, some people are like, hire someone, intern, but nobody moves like me. When I'm ready to go, don't get in my way. Like, we have to go. This person just called. I have 30 seconds to literally get out there and go. I don't have time for you to be dragging on your feet and trying to tie your shoelaces. So yeah, just for that reason, for me to be able to move the way I need to move, here I am.
Okay, got some questions here. DJ Lex says support.
Thank you,
Trevor on LinkedIn says, do you video your makeup session?
I used to. There are thoughts there. The thing is, I started getting some artists that were kind of stealing techniques, because there are a few things that I'm known for locally, at least. And one is speed, one is sanitation, and of course certain techniques. So for that reason, I kind of started videotaping it and started deciding that I would use that as a class, I guess, if you will, idea. However, I realized it wasn't necessarily going to the people who needed it. It was going to the people who just wanted it for other reasons behind the scenes. So, you know, I started becoming weary, if you will.
Gotcha.
How compared to when you started to now, how competitive is your industry?
It's like 1 in every 2 people is a makeup artist now. Is something. So it's just like, and half of the people really don't know what they're doing, or they know how to, you know, do their eyebrows, and they feel really nice about their eyebrows. So now they're charging to do makeup on someone. They don't know the first steps about, you know, contouring and these things. They don't know the first steps about people skills. They don't know the first steps about arriving on time. They don't know the first steps of, you know, making sure that you're able to blend to that person's skin tones, dealing with skin tones while there's a baby breastfeeding in their lap. Like, come on, we've got to understand the interwebbings. Yeah. So there's a lot to it.
So okay, I'll save that conversation piece from in another few minutes.
Okay.
Are you doing more makeup for men than ever before?
There's been you know what? Funny enough, now I think about it, no. There were already quite a few men that were there, especially when it comes to TV. Now, what I will find is more so I'll be teaching them or directing them. It's kind of having makeup shopping sessions with them as to what, you know, maybe powder they need to go on TV and things like that. But are there more? Not necessarily. I get hired sometimes for shoots where, I don't know if that's weird, but, you know, to body oil some gentlemen because there's a look that they're going for and the lights need to reflect and things like that, you know, or fitness shoots and things like that. But that's always been a thing for me. So I'm not sure if other artists see that there are more men or less, but it's been pretty even for me now that I think about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Clientele, what percentage Black versus non-Black?
You know what? It's funny because a lot of people think, although I specialize in certain things, because obviously I think one of the things we have to understand is understanding Black skin is like top tier, because we have so many intricate shades, so many undertones, so many things like that, right? And then we're dealing with all the regular things like different, you know, skin types and things like that. So once you've got that under your belt, you're pretty much good for anything across the board.
Wow. Yeah.
So yeah. So even though I specialize there, not all of my clients are Black. Like, I would say we're at a 40-60. Maybe. Yeah. Or maybe even 35. Because the reason being is there are other races, obviously. So we don't just have white and Black. We have other races. So there are little trickles, you know.
Yes.
You know, I have a lot of Indian clients, a lot of, you know, Bollywood weddings, if you will, like really.
Wow.
Right?
I would love to tag along with you for that. No, I think it'd be a great educational and cultural session.
Yes, exactly. And you start learning like some of the traditions and how this works, and the times that they start this and do that, and that means now I've got to navigate that and change my schedule because they're going to start at this time. We're not starting at whatever time. So there are those things. And then and then some of them are multiple days, and some of them are adding in traditional wedding versus North American type wedding, right? So now we have 4-day
and this
wedding,
is just
3-day
you.
Wedding. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Just me.
Oh,
And it's
wow.
crazy because I work for some contract teams, but in my business, it's just me.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah.
Like I'm. You taking resumes? No.
Right.
But I have people call. They're like, "Hello, are you hiring?" I'm like, "No, not today."
So two favors I'm going to ask. We have some questions now coming from the family. First of all, would it be possible to give some just general tips from you? If you could send it to me, and I could put it in our Discord group.
Yes, that's cool. Yes, I could do
that. And I will also tag you and say, if you have any questions, come to her.
I'm here for that. Absolutely.
And second of all, sometime in the near future, I just want to hang with you for a day. And
we go.
No, I'm being serious, and I'm
actually being serious too, because I'm sorry to cut you, but I have to say it was like 2 years ago when I was like, you know what, I need a reality show, because every single time something happens. Yeah, and people be like, I tell somebody a story time, they're like, that story time in itself is a whole chapter in a book right now. Like, what are you talking about? And I was like, I should have a reality show. Anyways.
No, I want to get educated and just see, because I find what you do fascinating. You're a fascinating person from the first time I met you, and I just want it to me be an education. And I think one of the things you mentioned also too, the importance of people skills, because you're dealing with a whole, like, I don't want you to answer this, but could you think how many hundreds and thousands of people you've dealt with over your journey?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a lot. When you factor some weddings that I've done 30 people in a day, I'm like, if I did 30 people in a day, how many have I done this year? So yes.
Absolutely. And is there anyone on the bucket list, like celebrity or just
who other than the Marleys, who are some other people you work with? And then come to Ryan's question of bucket list.
Yes. Okay. So actually, let me go to Ryan's first. The bucket list, and this is again, we all have our own little things. Everybody would probably throw some huge name out there, and even though this one to me is huge, it would be if I could just touch up Barris Hammond. Listen, when I say he's hubby,
yes. That's all. I love it. Yeah.
Oh.
I wish I could get a screenshot of that look a few seconds ago. Like, I just sent it to Barris. This is your makeup artist in the future.
Oh, yes.
Oh my gosh. I am such. Listen, anyway, okay, sorry, let's get off that one. So, let's see. I have done so many people locally, outside. Oh, and now, like I've been connecting a lot with, I don't know if you guys know a rapper, Fat Man Scoop.
Yes.
Okay. So we're in good, things, and I've worked online virtually with like Ray J and stuff like that. So there's a lot of people. There's people, like there's always people here. Yeah. I'm now supposed to be booked with a lady who's pretty big out there, but it's still hush right now until it's, I always keep things there. Yeah. But the list just keeps going. So yeah. Oh gosh. All right. Again, and I'm always terrible at dropping, but yeah.
Okay, no problem. Better to say nobody than say some people and forget others. So that's the safe way. That's
exactly.
So Dr. Tachi is going with your Barris Hammond look. We already have the family already has a name, A Day in the Life with Faces by Pureness with Vibes. Oh.
Yes. Let's create.
Ooh. Okay. We got some great questions from the family here. I'm going to start with this one for Frequency Event Promotions. For the individual looking to get into the makeup industry, what are the top 3 tier things folks should know or come to terms with. I like the come to terms with part, especially. Go ahead.
The first one is it's no longer your art. Because no matter how much you've mastered this, you know how to do a brow, you know how to do a lip, you know how to do a contour, it's not your face you're working on. It's either going to be you're contracted out to do makeup for a fashion show or a brand or a TV show, and now you're going by a director or a stage producer. So those are the people that now are the people who are directing your art. It's no longer your art. So you have to let go of that. Like you'll be thinking, well, I really wanted the brows to be like this, but there's a theme. You have to go with the
theme.
Just
can't go willy-nilly on
whatever
you do.
So thank you for whatever you learned, but scrap all of that. We're doing this today. So, you know, and then just with regular clientele, same thing. They may have a look that they're going for that has nothing to do with what your major high-end looks are. You know, forget all that. This is their face now, and you're answering to them. They're your boss now. So that's the first thing that I think you have to really allow in, because I've seen a lot of contention. And even when I'm on set, mind you, even though I am my own artist and I work solo dolo, I end up in spaces where there is another artist hired, and I'm hearing the kerfuffling going on in the corner. And then unfortunately, this is just something that has happened a lot in my career. That person now wants to come to me to get it touched up. And now me and that artist have a problem because they're looking at me all funny.
Right.
But
yes.
You have to understand the inner workings of respecting the fact that your art is not your art. It's now their face. And they may love what you do, but they may not. So you have to respect that. Mm-hmm. The second thing is just, I want to say just understanding clientele in general. And this kind of goes back onto that as well. But there are some people who really say they want light makeup, and they really mean, I want light makeup. And you have to understand who means light makeup, who means glam. Everybody perceives things a little differently. And they also see things differently. They may see Kim Kardashian right here and think that was light makeup. And I'm like,
right.
That
was a morning job.
This is light makeup for you.
Right. That took half a day.
Right, don't kill me. Don't kill me. It's literally that. So it's like, okay, so I'll do what I think you're seeing on this paper, because I don't think that's really what you're asking me for, respectfully. So, you know, understanding those workings, understanding what they're really saying, and listening to reading between the lines. Understanding people's lines and then reading between them, you know. So there's that. And thirdly, I would just say understand that things aren't always going to go according to plan, because I notice a lot of artists, especially when I'm working with teams, they'll have schedules and like, okay, we're going to work at this time to do this. And every single time I'm like, when I'm working on my own, I don't do scheduling. I think it's the weirdest thing ever. I cannot schedule how long this is going to be, because unfortunately, especially in events, you might get up 35 times. You have to use the washroom. Somebody forgot to put in their contacts. Oh yeah, you guys forgot the flowers downstairs. There are all these things happening. Our schedule is null and void now, because now I'm just going to pick whoever happens to be sitting at the edge of that bed that day. So respectfully, schedules don't work. So you may not go in doing exactly what you thought, exactly how you thought you'd be doing it. You may start somebody and they now need to get up. You know, the baby's crying. So kind of letting go of that, because I've seen artists get frustrated, like, oh, you know, I started this thing and now I can't blend it, and and the makeup dried on her face. I'm like, you should have seen that she was itching to get up. You could have felt that. She was like looking over there, the baby's crying. You shouldn't have put that foundation right away. I saw you do it. I saw you starting putting the foundation because you thought you could keep her in the chair. Don't do it. Don't do it. Stop and say, you know what? Now that I'm at a good step to let you go deal with the baby. Let me deal with person number 2. So those type of things, being able to flow like that, I would say those are 3 things, just 3 that, you know, could really help some people out there.
Excellent.
I'm going to ask a favor. Can you go a little bit past the top of the hour? Because we got a number of questions for you.
That's fine. No, that's fine.
That's all right. Before I ask the next question, dealing with especially entertainers, how do you handle ego?
Oh, I meet it where it's at.
Mm-hmm.
And respectfully, it bounces off me. I've dealt with people with the biggest egos that absolutely have no no clout whatsoever, and people who have more money than any of us could ever think of, the richest people on the planet, and they were just like, hey, how are ya? Want to come have some tea? So I have been able to meet people where they are. And I think that's one thing. I think that's a personal thing for each person. Anybody may or may not have that. So that's just something I have. I'm able to let it roll off. I'm like, okay, you're having a diva day today. All right. So what we're going to do is blend, and hopefully you stay with me here today and we're good to go. So, I don't have to let them know, but mentally I'm like, okay, we have one of those now. Okay, let's breathe through it. I'm just going to slowly blend, and I'm going to I'm going to sing Beres Hammond in my head right now, because right now.
All right. Now I know how to get to her heart, Beres Hammond. All right. We know that. There you go. There you go. Another question for Frequency Brand Promotions. Other people, I'm going to get your questions. Seeing artists and models on and off camera, what have you applied to your professional and personal life, if anything?
I have applied to not have that diva status in my mind. I've been humble throughout. It's so funny because I saw something written about me and it shocked me because I hadn't realized in the background, like a family member wrote something about me. And I was like, wow, I didn't realize I had been seen in that way, but it was just speaking on, it was kind of like a poem, and it was speaking on how I work with people and I have all these connections, but when I come home, it's like all of that is dropped and I'm right back to who I am. I'm right back to square one. And I think that's one of the top things for me being in this industry, is not being that person. I've always I honor family so much that I just want to, it's not just for family only, but it's like, because of that, I just always have stayed humble. Like, I just feel more comfortable in that space. And so if there were anything I were going to take home from that, or even clientele, is just respecting others, loving others. I could speak to someone in a certain career versus a certain career and speak with them with the same level of respect, because we're all out here. Anyone can be up there and fall tomorrow. Let's not talk about the celebrities who are right now. So you can be on top and you can be at the bottom tomorrow. So don't ever forget that. So that's something I've learned. And I think I always had within.
Absolutely. So before we get to Dr. Tachi's question, I'm going to suggest to Dr. Tachi that she has you on Mediascope when it launches back up. I think it'd be a great appearance. Yeah, absolutely. She goes, how do you feel about makeup influencers on social media? Is there space in the makeup realm for everyone?
There's space for everyone. There is. Is it redundant? Yes. It's kind of like, okay. One thing I've noticed is, like, a lot of people, like the general public, when they say, I watch a tutorial, I buy all of these things, but I still can't apply the makeup. Like, when I'm done, I look like a muddy mess. Is not that. They say blend this, I'm blending, it looks crazy. It's just because they don't really understand the technique. So even when they see it, it looks cool. They may even stop that video and go step by step. There are things that are just meant to be technique, and you can't really just teach it like that. And if you do teach it, it might have to be hands-on. I might have to actually grab their hand and show. I have this one client who will constantly hire me, and she will say, oh, every time I do that makeup, you got to show me again. Show me the mirror again. I'm like, this is the 798th time I've shown you how to do that.
They have a heavy hand. They just can't.
Yes, they just don't grasp. And it's like, oh, that's the same thing I started doing again. Oh, darn,
Yes.
So, but within the influencer realm, one thing I have noticed is just there's not a lot of transparency. A lot of it is sponsored work. So when I see a lot of these things and they're like, oh, this product is so great, if you use this, if you did that, if you picked up this brush, and I'm like, let me check the comments and see if this was a sponsored video, because honestly, I'm like, this is very gimmicky. That brush doesn't work for anything. That wouldn't blend your face. That doesn't make sense. And you check it, lo and behold, it was a sponsored video. So, it is what it is. And I think there's space for everyone. Everybody can get their coin. Do I necessarily want to do that? Absolutely not. Respectfully to the industry, but it never appealed to me. Now, would I share my wealth in other ways, maybe like this? Yes, I would. Would I pick up a brush and kind of do a quick thing just to show someone, okay, yes, I would do that. But to really go full time and be like a makeup artist influencer, I don't think I ever would. And I think that's why I never did, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, let me ask then, where do you feel, if at all, the industry could do better, especially when it comes to Black makeup artists?
Again, I think one of them leads to transparency. Two is maybe finding humbleness within, because I find a lot of the ones that have gotten that big are no longer humble enough to really come back to the community and really say, you know what, guys, but this is what it could be. And I'm not pointing fingers at anyone, because there are some great influencers out there, great influencers. And they started out with the right mindset, but then there are some that are just coming in because they realize that there's money to be made. And I think that's part of the problem, is this whole money to be made thing. Just like you could talk about the music industry and other industries, it's kind of the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ryan, I know you have to leave very soon. So if you have any things you want to get in, please do. I don't want to take up, because we're going to go past the top of the hour. So go ahead.
I just had one question, because I know my wife doesn't wear a lot of makeup, but then when she needs to do like an Instagram live or something, then she's, touching up. So what tips do you have for those that typically don't wear makeup, but every so often want to make sure that they look all right for the camera? And I guess that light touch, like what kind of tips do you have for those that want that light touch?
Yes. Now this might be the shameless plug moment, but to be honest, hiring me for just like a couple hours, no big investment, just a couple of hours, I could make her feel better about doing that. Also the right products, saving her skin, making sure her skin stays healthy with or without that makeup. And those types of things would be so beneficial for someone like her, anyone in her position. Even when it comes down to a date night and things like that, she might be like, oh yeah, I remember this thing. And one thing I've gotten is, and I champion this so much, is the fact that husbands love what I teach their wives, because I'm teaching them something that they see the difference. They see how flawless it looks, and it doesn't look makeup-y, if you will. Like how some people put on a wig and it looks very
and they want to get away from that. Yeah.
Yes. So that's exactly what benefits. And again, it's not a big investment. It's not, a car payment or anything like that. It's just a couple of hours, and I'm showing you. Yes. And then for free, I'm going to let you know what products you need to get. Go get them, and done. And they'll feel so much better about what they're doing and more confident, because they're not like, oh, if somebody saw this, I see people do that. They're putting on the face and they're like, oh, if somebody saw this, they probably thought I'm crazy. Or if a professional saw me doing this, they'd probably sue me. Yeah. So they'd feel much more confident in the fact that, oh, a professional told me that this is the right way, so I'm good to go.
And I'm curious, because my daughter has now shown an interest in starting to wear makeup. She's 11. So one, your thoughts on ages of children starting to use makeup, and then a bit of tips, because I know she had a bit of scarring, so she kind of wants to cover some of that up. So when you're working with scars, like how to address that.
Yes. Okay. So first, she's young. So yes, I always kind of lean toward less is more, or none at all. However, if there is something else, there are two things here that I always want to deal with. Is first the mental health of the child, because I've dealt with that as well in the family, and there being a scarring or a marking of sorts, especially when it's on the face, and dealing with how they feel about it, because a lot of times they'll show that they may be okay, but obviously if they want to cover it up, then they may not be okay completely. So dealing with that in the background is so vital. But then on top of that, that's where I would step in and show them how to cover it. One thing, and the products to use, almost the same investment as I would say the previous question you had, because it's one of those things that's very sensitive. And when you're coming into a child's space, you have to respect that it's a child's space. And I learned that in any early childhood, and especially during psychology, just going into a child's space, you can't assume. You have to just feel with them and get down to their level. And once you apply that makeup, letting them know, holding their hand and letting them know, this is okay, and this is the way you would do it. Do you feel okay like this? Do you think if you went outside, you'd feel comfortable? Are you okay here? Did I meet your needs? And they have become very vocal in those moments. Like, yeah, I feel better because, you know, Suzanne said something about my skin yesterday and I just didn't feel comfortable. So now I was like hiding it like this, you know? So I want to make sure I meet them with where they are. And sometimes they don't always vocalize that until those moments. They're so precious and they're so sensitive that you have to be there. So that's something for me. I would rather be in her space and hold her hand through that.
That's good stuff.
I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Again, thank you so much. I did have to jump, but
yes,
Dr. Vibe,
right on time.
We'll talk soon.
All right, be well, Ryan. You and the family. All right, good stuff.
Absolutely.
Ryan is out, so now the real fun begins.
Oh,
all
yes.
right. We could go on for about 2 hours.
I'm telling you,
because there's other layers I want Faces to share with us. But right now, people are driving the beauty stuff. So here we go. So a few other things. Let's see. I want to Charmaine Hussey, First Lady of ACBN. Good morning, all. Great conversation.
Thank you.
She says also, is it more a passion or natural creativity or a skill to be able to do the makeup process right? Good question. Go ahead.
It's a little bit of all. Oh my gosh, the fact that you said that, it always irks my soul when somebody said, you know what, I was thinking of a career, so I'm going to go to makeup school. And I'm like, okay, well, that's awesome for you, but you need to have something in there. Art is not something you just start doing out of nowhere. Like, you would have normally already had a knack for art. You know, it's just, it is what it is. You don't learn to sing. You know how to sing, and then you enhance it by teaching other skills or learning your vocal cords. It's the same thing. You have to sing your way through this makeup artistry, if you will. So yeah, it is definitely passion. One, that's for the business. Now, mind you, I think there's passion in anything we do. If we really like it, we're going to have passion naturally. So there's that. But when it comes to having a makeup artistry business and really dealing with clientele, a full-time gig, you have to have so much passion to the point you can see past the person who's cursing, and you can see past the person who hired you and canceled you right in front of the door. You have to have so much passion that you can keep going past all the hills and gullies that pass you. So that there's a lot in that. But creativity, of course, is a number one, because it's an art. It's an art form. You have to be creative. I actually have a video about that on my TikTok. It's so funny. I'm like, can you actually call yourself an artist if you're not creative? Who are you then? And yeah, there's just so many things about that. But again, I go back to the whole, you're just going to teach yourself how to become. It's not one of those industries I feel that you do very well by just saying, I'm just going to pick up a pen today and just see what happens. Like, no, I don't think that would ever work. And I think people would understand where I'm coming from. It's just not the same. It just doesn't hit the same.
Yeah, she adds on with it. Can it start with interest in making money, then transition to a real interest and passion to stick with it as a career choice?
I mean, I guess some people could start that way, but when you think of your true heart, if you started a relationship with the ideal of this guy has some money, would you eventually fall in love with him? Or are you still looking at the pockets? I don't know. It would be up to you. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. No,
so it's
facts.
up to each person. I can't swear by that, but I think you still have to have the passion. Everything has to be already kind of there and bubbling. And then you're like, okay, here we go.
Fantastic. Ryan Singh, my girl, you've been an influencer, my first makeup artist I hired. Thank you, Faces.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Coach Danny Stone, we are all naturally creative, resources, curious, and whole, but most of us don't tap into our creativity. And he says, what's good, my brother? What's good with you, Coach Stone, and his beautiful wife, Trudy Stone? His beautiful wife does a lot of regular appearances on City Line. And once in a while, once in a while, Coach Stone is on City Line. Probably the only Black Canadian couple that's on a somewhat regular basis, even though it's separate. I know one day they'll be on together on a major broadcast on a regular basis.
That's very interesting, because I do so many people for the network, but that's amazing to actually think of them as that. Like, wow, that's very amazing. A Black couple that's on regularly. I like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see. You know what? We're gonna go there.
Okay.
So we're going to do a little bit of a pivot. So if you follow Faces on Instagram, she has had an incredible physical transformation for the good.
Absolutely.
For the good. So I want you to share a little bit about that because you know the story best. So kick it off.
Absolutely. Okay, so one thing, as I was speaking about, excuse me, all of these things that were, you know, hardships, like I was talking about pulling a kid through the sand. Now, at one point, I was doing that at 400 pounds. So it was extremely difficult. I was having hard times. I tried to get help here and there where I could. Sometimes that wasn't met with the best energies. So I I had to fight through a lot. I was fighting, and in the background, in the back end, I was not getting the love and support. So that's how I got to that position. With that said, I had to take accountability for what I had allowed into my life, and decide that I needed to melt that off of me, not just the weight, but the toxicity as well. So I realized that I was raised to be an empath of sorts. I was raised to love, honor, nurture. Now that has fueled beautifully in my career, but not necessarily personally, because that's allowed people into my life that were vultures. So because of that, I decided at one point, actually, no, I'm lying to you. I decided at 5 million different points I was going to lose weight. Everybody in this position can understand. You're like, I'm going to lose weight today. Yeah, Monday morning, that's it. Sunday's going to be my last woo-ha. I'm going to get it in. We're going to eat all the pizzas and all the things, and I'm going to lose weight on Monday. And it never happened. Or I would start all the gimmicks and all the, you know, the fast, whatever, weight loss fads. And it never worked. And eventually, pandemic happened and I had to sit down with myself. And I've said this so many times, it was the first time I had no excuse, because my excuse was always work. Even when I was just working for the government, I'd be like, I have to work, you know. And I didn't have work. There was no excuse. We were all sitting down and I was like, wow, so this weight isn't just going to fall off itself, huh? Okay. So I had to figure it out. And I said, you know what? It's time. It's really, really time. Like I wasn't joking. I looked myself in the mirror and said, it's time. We are going to lose this. I had been losing a little bit here and there already, but I just wasn't really getting it. So I started doing some research. I was like, there's YouTube, there's online, there are books, so I started doing research and I decided to go on keto. I started intermittent fasting. And I kind of had some guidance, but it wasn't really helping. Really, I just felt the education behind the guidance wasn't there. So I took it into my own hands and I was like, you know what? Maybe if I kind of geared this toward like a one meal thing. And I started researching and there was such a thing as an OMAD, a 1 meal a day. And I went to that and I've been doing that ever since. OMAD and keto together have been my saving grace, because I was a breadhead. I would eat hardo bread 100 times a day if I could.
I haven't had any. Don't even say that.
Oh. Right. Tell me why. So anyway, since then I've lost 250 pounds and
wow.
You know, yeah. And for the most part, I've sustained. There are the times where I have a few hills and gullies. And again, I know what I'm doing, so I'm not afraid that I'm going to go back there. I may pack on a 20. Right now, I'm bulking, so I'm doing a bulk, and I'm fine with it. And I know when it's ready to cut, I'm going to be ready to cut, and I'm going to come down all into the muscles I've made. So, yeah.
What has this transformation done for you physically, emotionally, and spiritually?
Physically, now we can go back to that whole business thing. I can pull kids through sand a lot more.
Okay.
I'm no longer asking or calling restaurants ahead of time to find out if they have a booth or if they have seats so I can pull it out so I can sit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm no longer asking for certain things ahead of time in terms of work, you know. And I remember there were times where I would ask them, can we only work downstairs so I wouldn't have to go up the stairs? Because I would start getting sweaty and then the sweat wouldn't stop coming. No matter how much I cooled down, I just couldn't stop sweating. I would just keep sweating. And of course, you're in somebody's face, like sweating.
Yeah, yeah.
Terrible things have happened to you. So there's that. Now, emotionally, mentally, I cannot tell you how great I feel about life and the fact that I'll actually possibly live one. Now, we don't know the graces of what may happen every day and then in the next moments, but the fact that I've lost the thought of death being on my door is so incredibly breathtaking and life warming for me. I have changed so many things in my life and in others' lives too. And again, just being that type of empath, just knowing I can help people. And I always thought, oh, I'm going to help people with makeup. But it's like, but then they wash off the makeup. I'm helping people lose weight and help their lives. That can't be washed off. And now I feel like I'm finally serving a true, real purpose in people's lives too, in helping. So that's another thing that has helped me mentally too. I'm like, oh my gosh, I just saw this person crying and now they're smiling and grinning at me on a camera because they are so happy they lost this weight and they're going about their lives. They're getting married. They're having the child they didn't think they could have. It's just so incredible.
How has the transformation, has it adjusted what you feel your purpose is in life?
Yes. And it goes back to when we were talking about making videos or becoming some sort of a makeup guru. It no longer, I knew I didn't really have a passion for it, but now I no longer am even slightly interested because I want to just help people's health and especially the Black community. Now, if I were to really go niche, I could even say my makeup artists, my Black makeup artists especially, struggling. I see it. I see when a girl becomes, not even just girls, males, whomever, becomes in this art. And I remember thinking to myself, that's exactly how it happens. You start forgetting yourself. You start making people beautiful. And then suddenly you go into the background and then it's not so bad if you gain 20 pounds. It's not so bad if you whatever, because it's like, and then you start fading into this Black space. And not that you hate yourself. You may not even have self-esteem issues, but just the fact that you kind of fade to Black is one sure sign that one, you're doing very well in your makeup artistry, but also that you're forgetting yourself. And I want to help people who are especially entering this industry not fall victim to that, because there's been so many that I see enter that. Now, within just our community then, when I was shared in the Gleaner, I tell you, the Jamaicans, oh my gosh, I was so shocked between the people. Yeah, man, things are going, everything nice. But it wasn't just that. It was the people who said, you know what? I was ready to go to Dunn's River Falls and just jump. And I was like, what? Are you serious right now? Yeah. And they were like, this just moved me so much. And some of them are still in my messages now, you know, trying to get guidance and help. One just messaged me yesterday and I hadn't heard from her in about a week. And she said, you know what, I fell off. And I said, it's okay, sweets. We got this. We're going to keep going. And I just send them the encouragement and love they need. And that's sometimes all they need. And then I see them on a scale in a picture, you know, in a few weeks, like, look what I did. And I'm just so happy and proud. And again, like I said, this now has become such a huge passion for me. So I can be a makeup artist all I want, but if I were to do anything at the end of my days, is to save someone's life through health.
You and I got to talk offline. There's like 300,000 ideas that have just hit my head. Kirk Berry says, "Faces by Pureness, what an inspiration."
Thank you.
Charmaine asks, is there a risk in persons who have a greater appreciation for themselves in makeup and less for their natural beauty?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. And that kind of goes now into what we're talking about.
This is good.
Some people were using the makeup to hide how they felt. And then, okay, so let me talk about the real dangers. That's
a good question. That's a really good question.
Yes, absolutely. Because some people are using certain things. And I get it. This is a hard society. We are dealing with a lot right now. And like they said, social media doesn't help. But they've used some gears, and you know, I'm in the background with Instagram and stuff like. They've used some things to help people navigate those types of issues, but it's not going away, and it's only getting worse. Let's be real. So within that, we have people, and this is not shading anyone who has, but I'm just telling you the tiers of, you know, now we're getting facial reconstructions. We're going under the knife. We're going to the needles. We're going to those things, right? We are going to. Okay, so I was going to touch on the things. Okay, so we have that. So now we're physically enhanced, right? In person. Now then we may go to the next step and put on some makeup. That makeup may be light. It may be very heavy. Okay, so now we're using makeup as another crutch. Again, not bad things, but when you start thinking of why we're doing it and the mental health that we're in, the state that we're in when we're doing it, that's what we really need to speak on. So now we're using those two things as crutches. Now then we are going to enhancements of whatever media it is we're using. We're using filters, we're using AI, we're using all of these things to help us. Where is us in all of this? We're losing self. We are losing self. And it's not a slow graduated thing. It's very quickly happening. I will do somebody's makeup and they'll say, oh, you know what? I just got this done. I just got that done. Then I have these enhancements and I have those enhancements. Can you also, so they will have already had a nose job and then want me to contour their nose some more. And I'm like, so are you not happy with the nose job? So now you want me to contour your nose some more. Then they add a filter when they do a post that thins their nose some more. And then I start thinking, I guess we're still just not happy. I think we're just not happy. And no matter what, it's still going to go. So these are the people who may fall victim to multiple surgeries, multiple enhancements, multiple whatever. And it's not that that's a bad thing. It's just we have to look at when it gets too much and when we're no longer satisfied in self. Now it's internal. Now we have to think about that. So makeup is a part of that tier and a part of that issue, if you will, within, are we using it for this or are we really using it for that? And let's be honest with ourselves. And that's kind of hard because a lot of people don't realize how bad they may be feeling about themselves that they're actually willing to go even to illegal enhancements to make these things happen. And it's disheartening. It's very disheartening. Yeah.
Wow. That's a lot.
And again, so then we talk about this fitness stuff, people who want to lose weight and they're like, well, you know, once I lose the weight, I'm getting that BBL, I'm getting the things and I'm getting this and, you know, or maybe I won't even lose the weight. Maybe I'll just get the lipo and then whatever. And then I'll lipo my face and my chin and my eyes and my ears and my legs and I'm like, okay, I'm not hating on that, but why are you doing it? Why?
And it ain't cheap either.
Right. Some of these people are not able to pay bills because they're taking care of this stuff. So what are we risking? What are we? It's so
wow. Look at this. Kirk Berry says a true journey of beauty, health, and wellness. Thank you, Lady Pureness. Saving lives through health. Write it down. Hint, hint from Coach Berry.
Thank you, Coach.
All right. This is
an amazing one.
Wow. What do you do to rest?
Rest my mind. I speak with those I love. That's my true, like I said earlier, you know, just having that humble key within me. That's whether I'm sleeping or not. Once I'm with family, I'm good. Once I'm with the people I love, everything comes back down and I'm like, okay, we got it. We did another day. We championed this. We did it. Let's go. We got this. And we laugh. We're goofy. We may be serious at work, but nope, everything falls by the wayside and we're just family. And I love that. So that's my rest, if you will. That's how I separate from all of that.
So DJ Lex says, I love your story and your journey. You are such an uplifting and a breath of fresh air.
Thank you.
Charmaine says, thanks much. Great information. Wishing you all the best.
Thank you.
Now, Fitness IQ says it's cheaper to do it natural.
Thank you. It is. And I'm not hating on the knife because there are things I've had to do for myself health-wise. So again, I want people to understand it's more of a key on like what needs to be done. And some people do an enhancement for careers. You know, we understand there's some, you know, even celebrities who may do it for their careers. They feel it enhances their career. But again, it still sends a message, right? And then those who see it, obviously, when it comes to people with a larger platform, they're showing people what they're doing by way of the fact that we see the changes. Now we're starting to think maybe I need to do that. Should I do that? Oh, yeah, let's all go do that. Now we're having, mind you, I'll be doing makeup sessions and they'll be like, oh my gosh, we should have a Botox party. And it's like, we all get Botox and then Pureness does our makeup and then we're going to all be so beautiful. And I'm like, that's not what you need to be beautiful. You're beautiful as you are. But, you know, like, I don't mind coming over to enhance and I'll never refuse the work. I'll respectfully, but why do we need those extra steps? But, you know, again, it is what it is. I love natural beauty. I love natural growth and health and all of these things. I love it. And I understand there are reasons that people need to go other ways. But do I think it's always necessary? No. Do I think it has necessarily helped those people? No. I've watched videos where people are regretting some of their choices. People are taking away some of those enhancements, even some of our celebrities, wink, wink, that are getting rid of them, either due to health reasons or they just realize that I don't really need this stuff to fulfill my life. So yeah, a lot to be said there. Gosh, I could go on forever.
Yep, that's why you're coming back. Marlon Allen says, amazing comments. Beauty and health is such an important topic of conversation in the Black community. We don't think we should be resting or taking care of our health because we're always playing catch up. Thank you for sharing.
Yes.
All right. One last conversation piece. It was asked a long while back, but I wanted to save it till the end. Frequency Event Promotion says, where do you see the world of makeup artistry in, say, 2 or 3 years from now?
That's an interesting one because I'm not sure with the fact of how AI is taking over. So the makeup industry may deplete to some degree. Now I realize, okay, so in the background, they've already been taking enhancements of certain humans and certain persons to get digital memory. And of course we're helping because we're downloading the apps and we're giving them our identity. Let's be real. So because of all of these things, they already have identities of certain people and they already have the ways of what makeup is and what makeup does and how to enhance it. Now, if you were to do that digitally, you would no longer need makeup artists on set. You would just edit after. You would just hire an editor or you would just ask AI to do it. So where is the placement of getting into film? There may no longer be artists on film. At best, I would say if maybe an actor were to say, oh, I need makeup because I need to feel good while I'm doing the actual role, or I need to get into my role, we might play a role there. But I think 2 to 3 years, we might not be fully out, obviously, but anywhere past that, I can see us being eliminated. Now, mind you, during COVID, we were the first ones kicked out the studio. Makeup artists were the first ones they deleted. So I can see the same thing happening with AI. Once AI comes in and they'll be like, okay, who are the first ones on the docket that we can just get rid of? Because I'm tired of paying these people. I think it will be us. So I do think this industry is going to deplete to some degree.
Okay. Opal Inspire says, great work and insight. You're so grounded.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that.
Well, any final words? I was going to tack on to another conversation now, but that would take it to 2 hours. So I'm going to just say, but that's why she's coming back. But any final comments you have for us?
I just want to say, within everyone, we all, again, I spoke on so many different things and beauty and health and all of these things, but especially when I want to speak to our community specifically. And it's like, we're taught so much to be kings and queens and be top of the game. And you got to hustle, you got to grind, you got to go harder than the rest. And because of that, we lose ourselves. We are constantly losing ourselves. And there is wealth in health. There is wealth in stopping and smelling the roses. There's a reason people who make it actually pause and take vacations or spend time with loved ones. There's a reason that this happens. And when we lose those elements of ourselves, we are losing elements of our community and we're not able to thrive. And I say, excuse me, I say, please allow yourself moments. And it doesn't mean being lazy. Again, we're embedded to think that if we stop for a moment, we're lazy. We're not trying hard enough. But for most of us, we're grinding so hard, we haven't been able to try to pause in years. And our pausing is our little moment of sleep for 4 to 7 hours at best. But just take a moment for self and you will find a lot of health within that. So, and I wish everyone prosper and growth.
Okay, so a few things before we shut it down. Shelley Champion says, the reason for people seeking surgical enhancements or feeling less than beautiful without makeup is because we have been socialized to believe that certain beauty standards are acceptable.
Yes.
People, social media remind us on a daily basis that our natural selves are not good enough.
Yes.
Whether it is a woman aging, dyeing our grays, being size 6, not 16 is preferred. Not to mention our relatives who love to question why we get fat, etc., etc.
Oh my gosh, there's so much to dive into there. I know
Part 2.
Time,
Part two.
Yeah, part two it is. That was beautifully said, and I agree. I know. I'm not necessarily a health at every size advocate, if you will, but I do believe in body positivity. And I do believe there are two totally separate things, and we tend to mesh them, and I don't believe they should be. Now, I'm just going to say this quickly. I don't believe health at every size is healthy. But what I will say is love the body you're in, because the more you love it, the more it will grow. And I don't mean grow in size. I mean, the more it will grow for you and work for you. So there's just so much to be said there. And I love what you said. We have to find our way through this. A lot of, say, as women, a lot of men may tell us, we love you as you are, but then it's confusing or conflicting, because then we see them like the picture of the girl that's enhanced. Or we may see them leave our relationship for the girl that was enhanced. What does that mean for us? It's scary. And then we go and do it ourselves, and we realize the grass really isn't greener. I've met many girls, women, men who have had these enhancements, and they're still going through the same plight as us. So please stay where you are, stay where it's comfortable. Don't do it because, quote unquote, don't do it because ... But if you decide to do something, so make sure it's at the very least, make sure you're doing it for yourself, and it's not because you're trying to impress whomever or whatever, or social medias of any sort.
What's up next for you?
Next, I want to enhance what I've been doing in the background and go on tour. I really want to help everyone across North America with their health and their mental state within their health, and how the two connect.
Wonderful. Look, thank you for taking the time. Continue to be a shining light personally, professionally, especially with your family.
Thank you. Thank you.
And would definitely, when you have time, sooner rather than later, love you come back, because there's a whole bunch of things that I feel that you want to go deeper.
Yeah.
I've watched some of your conversations. You haven't had a chance to go as deep on those than you have today. And we always want to make sure that we have our friends have a safe and brave space to express some of the things that are in their heart, that's going in their heart through them, not just in them.
Exactly. Thank you. Yes.
So everyone, that's where you can get in touch with her. I've also shared it on all the platforms. And I will just verify, taking a break is part of the process, family. You know, take those breaks. As I use this analogy for those who know, there's a very famous race called the Indianapolis 500. How many car drivers finish it without taking a pit stop? Doesn't happen. They got to take their pit stops before. So taking a break. Hey, look at this. You got a supporter, Mr. Barry. Next is conquer the world.
Let's go.
There we go. So Faces, as always, thank you so much. And we will be in touch, because you've generated, there's something sitting on my desk that I have to share with you that you may be very interested in, that I attended last year, that would be very a potentially good opportunity. So I'll leave it at that for now. So remember to give yourself grace, and don't just manage your time, manage Andy and family. It is going to come up. I'm going to hang out a day with her. We'll do some Instagram live and just go, wow. Be well and keep the faith. All right, family, there we go. We got 2 more comments here. Kirk Berry, Africa is calling you. Oh my, Kirk, you need to get in touch with myself or Face, because you got a lot of things you're dropping. Let's hear what's going on. Dr. Tachi, great show. All right, so let's start wrapping it up, family, and thank you for being here today. Fantastic. So a few last things. Subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show either on YouTube. Definitely on YouTube. Hit the notification button, and also follow the Dr. Vibe Show on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. To advertise your business or product on any of the platforms I host, please email me dr.vibe@thedrvibeshow.com. Join the Morning Vibe Discord group. Email me dr.vibe@thedrvibeshow.com, and you'll get some tips from Faces if you join the group, because I'm encouraging now any of our friends that come on, hey, do you have any tips you'd just like to share for our group? So there you're doing. There you go. Sorry. If you want to get in touch with me, there it is. I was going to say Facebook. I'm going to say website. I say website, website, the drvibeshow.com, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, The Dr. Vibe Show, Instagram at the drvibeshow.com, and XD at drvibeshow. If you want to catch Ryan, there's his contact information, website, Ryan Oneil Knight.com, Instagram at Ryan.Knight99, email Ryan.Knight at ACBN Canada, and LinkedIn Ryan Oneil Knight. Want to catch replays of our conversation? It's showing at the bottom. We got some one last comment here. Kirk Berry, yes, reach out, Mr. Berry. You seem to have a lot of great ideas. All right, let's call it a day. So last thing, you can watch replays of the Morning Vibe at the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and Facebook, Afro Caribbean Business Network, Facebook and YouTube, and Ryan Oneil Knight, YouTube and LinkedIn. So this is how we close out. I just bring it up here. Lots going on today. All right, so live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions, then aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. And remember to give yourself grace. So make sure you follow Dr. Vibe, follow Ryan. Next Morning Vibe show is on Friday. So looking forward to seeing you then. Keep in contact. Join the Discord group. God bless. Peace to all. Keep the faith and walk good.